Hello guys, welcome. Today we are talking about brushes. As you can see, I have way too many and this little clip doesn't even encompass all of them. I want to tell you guys what my favorites are, and then also I just want to get rid of some. I know in Declutter series you don't see people do brushes a lot, but for me I feel a little bit overwhelmed and I have so many like duplicate brushes. There are brushes that occasionally I use and I'm like, I don't know why I'm still using this. I don't even like it that much, and it just like works its way back into my collection. I have washed almost everything. I do have a lot to go through. I did sort a lot of them by type. I do have some sorted by collection. Let's dive in. I think last time you guys really liked this style of video where I just laid everything out and then you can see some things up close.
Hello.
So crease and blending brushes are something that I use all the time, that I do like to have multiples. Also, if my hands look horrible, it's just because I've honestly cleaned all these brushes today for like 2.5 hours. This poor brush is looking a little worse for wear. This is an older Sonia Kashuk brush. It's just kind of gotten a little bit frayed over time. I think I'm gonna let that one go. As for some favorites, Sephora Pro Tapered Crease Brush. This is the number 19, I believe. This has been a staple in my collection for a long time. I will say the only downside to these is over time the bristles do become a little bit stiffer on the ends and can be a little bit uncomfortable in the actual eyelid. And then also another favorite, the Sigma E44 Firm Blender. Amazing. This one gives you a little bit more control, but I just love it. You guys may see some similar brushes later on because honestly I just gave up on sorting the brushes and was like, oh my god, I've just got to get to it because I need to get started. Morphe E27. This one is really great for really buffing and blending, especially when you get higher and closer to the brow bone. It gives you a really diffuse kind of finish. This Morphe one, this was from a set, I believe. I picked this up at Ulta. This one's really good. It's a little bit coarser of a bristle, which can be really nice for me sometimes. Just a little bit of texture to them. It can be really nice. The Sigma Tapered Blending, obviously. This one is staying. This one is absolutely amazing. Sigma brushes, honestly, like for the longest time I was like, no, they're overhyped. I don't need them. No, they're really amazing. This one is from the Grinch collection from Pure. I actually don't use this for eyeshadow. I use it to contour my nose. That one's not going anywhere. I love the Wet n Wild, like the silver and pink handled brushes are really good. So that's just another good one. I do prefer the Wet n Wild like Pro brushes over these, so I might donate this one as well. This Profusion little blending brush is actually really good. Gonna hold on to that. BH Cosmetics, I love their brushes. I don't think you can have really too many blending brushes because if you are someone like me, you're gonna dip into different colors and I don't have time to wash my brushes constantly, so it's good to have a lot of backups. These are my keeps. Some of these are a little damp still. Cleaned them hours ago, but you can see like this one's still a little bit damp. That's why I just have everything laid out. Contour brushes, I don't really have that many. I do use other brushes sometimes to contour, like that aren't necessarily meant for it, but from a standpoint of like actual contour brushes, this is pretty much it. So I don't think that anything is going to go anywhere. My most used ones are the Sephora Small Contour. This one came from a set, and then I also use the Morphe E8 a lot. Very similar. The E8 is a little bit shorter of a bristle, so with the Sephora one you can blend a bit more. This one has a little bit more control. Just depends on the product I'm working with. And then I have the Morphe E20. This one's a little bit of a different shape, and again, I think it's a little bit more firm of a brush, so again, really good for cream. I'm just gonna keep those. 5 isn't too bad, I don't think. Highlight brushes. I'm actually missing one too. I don't know where my MAC 133 is. Where is that guy? So some other favorites. I really like the Wet n Wild one. This Moda brush kind of got lumped in with highlighting brushes, but I really love this one for like dusting off bake. A very subtle blush application as well. 2 from Sephora. These are my 2 favorites that they sell for highlighting. Pro Fan Detail 62 and Pro Highlight number 98. These are both really good. Again, more control, precise application. It's going to apply it a bit heavier. And then the Pro Highlight obviously is fluffier. It's got a lot more movement to it, so you're going to get a lighter application with that one. Again, it is a little bit larger though, so you don't have as much control with that one. We've got the Luxy 522 Tapered Highlight, and then we have the Morphe E61. That one's a really versatile brush as well. I've used this for multiple things in the past, but it is a good highlight as well. We didn't get rid of any, but a lot of these to me are more multi-purpose, so I'm not keeping just highlight brushes, and then I'll find the other ones somewhere. Let's talk about some random brushes. This Tarte Unicorn collection, I felt like their brushes were a little, I'm just gonna say it was a little odd of a choice with some of them. So this one you can use for multiple purposes. I actually do like this a lot for cream contour, but I felt like it was just an odd choice because there weren't that many brushes in the collection, and I felt like they could have gone for something, I don't know, a little bit more user-friendly for everyone. And then a couple different type brushes. This Lorac one actually came with the contour palette that I got from them. That palette is so freaking pigmented that it makes it a little bit difficult to use this to contour with, because again, it's denser, it really gives a more like solid application. But this one is great for other purposes, or for contouring with maybe a contour shade that doesn't have as much pigment. This brush is a little bit different, but I actually have found a few purposes for it that I really like. It's Morphe E16. You can use this to contour the nose. Cream contour gives you something a little bit more precise. I have used this too to lay down a little bit of powder just right under where I would do a wing. The powder will kind of catch the fallout and then you can dust it away. It's a good tip, but I do like both of these. They are different. I don't reach for them all the time, but they are good brushes. My two favorite brow brushes of all time. When I use dip brow, I used both brushes. You have the Morphe E. I don't know if this is E20, but if you just look, it's the Elite Angled Brow and Spoolie brush. This one's amazing. As you can see, I have really worn this one out. It's great for laying down your brow. Now, I always go back in with this one, which is the Morphe E39. It is a tiny brush. This is what I use for little hair-like strokes at the front of my brow. Must-have brushes for me. I have the Luxy and the Aesthetica spoolie brushes. They're literally just spoolies, but you need them sometimes clean to brush out lashes or something quick to brush through your brows. And then I have this tool, which honestly, do you guys use these? I don't find that I really use them that much, because if I'm gonna comb through my brows, it's not gonna be with this. I did wash this and I'm gonna donate this one. So these are flatter powder brushes. These actually come in really handy and I use them a lot. So I have the Sephora powder brush. Again, this came in a set, really similar to the Pro brush quality. And this one's Real Techniques, the metal series. These are both really good staple brushes, so I'm gonna keep those. If you see any of these sparkly ones, I had just this great idea, God knows why, to take all the brushes I had at one time and bedazzle them. This is an old Tarte blush brush, and gosh, I mean, I do use a lot of them that are to bedazzle like this. This one in particular I don't really use a lot because I just felt like the bristles got rough over time. It still is nice, but I have a lot of similar brushes, so I'm going to part ways with this one. This one is new to my collection, the Luxy 1010 Small Contour. Don't have a lot, so we're going to keep it. The Morphe E15 is a little bit different, but it is great with cream products. You can do a really precise contour. You can contour the nose with this one. I like to contour the lips if you ever do that. A little contour above and below to make them look a little bit poutier. It just works well with creams. You can use this with concealer. You can use it with eye base. Okay, for this next section, I'm just going to zoom in because I have so many. These are a lot of angled liner brushes, bent liner brushes, tiny liner brushes, so many things in here. So this one stood out to me. This one's from e.l.f. It's made for brows. I tried it, but honestly, it's a little too fluffy. It's a little too thick for my liking. It barely has an angle to it, so I'm just going to donate that one. These are angled liner brushes. To me, they are just a little too thick. As you can even see just looking at them, they've got some like heftiness to them that I don't personally like. You could use these in brows, you could use them for products, but it's just not a personal favorite when I have some others that I really love. So I'm gonna let these guys go. And by the way, I am donating all these brushes. That's the great thing about brushes. You don't have to put them in a landfill. You can literally just donate everything. So that's why I made sure to wash everything. Okay, some favorites. This is the Sephora Pro Tightline Eyeliner. This one is amazing if you want something super ultra small. It is straight across, however. I kind of would like it maybe a bit better if it was a little bit of a slant, but it does its purpose and I do like this brush. So I'm gonna hold on to that one. Another flat one, this is the Flat Definer number 221 from Luxy. Really good brush. I'm not gonna keep a lot that have a flat top, but I do like this one and it's a little bit wider than the others, so they give a little difference. Morphe E11, all really good angled brushes. And then I have a Sephora one that I do like, which is the angled liner. A brush that I just can't find a use for, the Aesthetica. It doesn't really say what this brush is, but this one to me just has so much movement. It doesn't do anything for me. I've tried it multiple ways and just don't really find a use for it. This is an e.l.f. brush that is a little bit more precise. It's a different type of liner brush, but I actually really like it. I have used this for lips and I've used it for eyes, so it's multi-purpose and I love that. All right, I'm gonna do a little camera work on my phone. Sorry if this doesn't turn out well. Some more brushes that I really love. So the Sigma Wing Liner E06 is amazing. I don't really use like these bent liner brushes very often, so I'm only going to keep one. I'm going to keep the Morphe one. It just has a little bit nicer feel. The Morphe E17, I use this one for lip and it works out really well for that purpose. One I'm going to get rid of just because I am keeping so many. I don't even know what this brush is anymore. It's super old. Morphe E19 up top is a great kind of detailed brush. You can detail concealer inside the inner corner of the eye where you have darkness. You can pack on glitter glue or glitter into the inner corner. So many things you can do with this one. Is really versatile. And finally, these two, an e.l.f. and a Wet n Wild. The Wet n Wild one looks like it needs a wash. Okay, maybe I missed that one. The e.l.f. one is a great little tiny detailed brush. I've got some brush containers you'll see. My little monster, my little face of another little monster. And then I have these little organizers. Ideally, I would be putting all my brushes just in these containers and kind of having a little more room in them. I'm not trying to get rid of like a ton of stuff, but it would be nice to just make a little bit of room so that I can see my brushes a bit more clearly and just know what I'm looking for and what I can grab. And I had to quickly mention that we had a death in the family today, the Morphe E45. This one is ironically really similar to another Morphe Elite brush that I have that I'm already keeping. It's okay, I'm just gonna say bye to that one. Like I said, it was really similar to another brush, but yeah, that's what we got. I'm gonna try to quickly talk about this pile of brushes that I honestly just gave up on because I didn't want to sort through them anymore. So I'm gonna pick out some faves. I'm gonna pick out some get rid of. This brush I am gonna part ways with. This is the Morphe E24. Nothing wrong with it. I just never quite found its purpose. I've used it for random things and never really enjoyed it for anything. I don't know. It's a domed, very stiff brush. I've used it for glitter. I've used it for glitter glue. I've used it to try to contour with. I've used it so many ways that I just, I'm good. A couple of loves. The Sigma Blending E36 is utterly amazing. It is a tiny little blending brush, but man, it gives you such precision and it's just great because sometimes you need to blend in just a tiny specific area. You want to do something where you're fading colors together, but you need a little blend first on the one shade. It's a really good brush, so I love that one. Another great kind of smaller precise brush, this is the mini tapered Luxy 121. This one is great for kind of getting another precise blend, but yet it's a little bit bigger, so I feel like I need brushes of every size for blending. It's a great one. The Sigma blending brush in general is just amazing. This is E25. This one is a little bit flatter of a brush, so it's great for kind of sweeping color. You can do circular motions, but it's great for kind of sweeping and just making sure that everything is blending together beautifully. This one I have not tried. This is the Moda Triad Eye. I don't know how this is going to work. I haven't really tried it. I got it in a subscription box, so I am going to give it a shot before I make a decision. Sephora blending shadow brush. This one's a lot flatter. As you can see, it's pretty thin on the side and just very flat, but it's great for kind of doing like a first lay and blend of color. Sephora Smudge Brush. I don't really have another one quite like this that is this size with this density, and this one's great for getting under the eye. I kind of like pack on the color under the eye with this, a tiny bit of blend, and I usually go in with something a little bit fluffier to blend afterwards. This guy from Morphe is a great under eye blender as well. I have used it for other purposes, but it's just really good for getting the color right under the lower lash line. This guy I'm gonna get rid of. I don't use angled shadow brushes very often. I don't even know, oh, this is a sleek brush. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of this guy. I just don't reach for it. Sigma Precision Round Brush. This one I have not used a lot, I'm gonna be honest. It didn't blow me away that other Sigma brushes do, and I promise every other Sigma brush I own I love. But this one it's round, it's very dense. I need to just try it some more and see if it's worth keeping. This Firma 204 is a new one to my collection, but it is really nice. It's kind of a standard, just regular shading brush. This one's gonna go, this is a Real Technique one, but I don't typically reach for brushes like this a lot. It has like a little bit of a taper at the end. It is fluffy. It's a nice blender. Nothing wrong with this. Just not one that I reach for a lot. Another one, the Sonia Kashuk. I feel like this one's just a little bit rough in consistency. The actual bristles are kind of coarse. It's got a weird angle to it. Just not my favorite. Again, nothing wrong with it. I just need to make a little room. This is a brush by Kala, I don't know. I just picked these up at TJ Maxx. To be honest, they are pretty nice. If you see this brand, they are decent. They're not the best, but they're certainly not the worst. And this one I've actually found a pretty good purpose in. Usually I'm just using this to lay down either a glue, a glitter glue, something that I'm going to put something else over. It's nice for that. You can pick up glitter with this one pretty easily, so I'm going to keep it for that purpose. Staple eyeshadow brushes, the ColourPop. They actually make some great brushes. Morphe E13, amazing little blending brush, love that guy. These Moto Pro brushes are pretty nice. I don't know why the handle bothers me. It's just like, it's the texture of it. It makes it feel kind of chunky in the hand. I don't know. You would think that would actually be a nice thing, but I'm just weird about it. I'm gonna think about those for a second. This Morphe E10 is supposed to be over there with some other brushes, but it's a really good like flat synthetic. This one's a little bit big for cutting a crease, but there are many things you can do with it. Concealer, if you don't like using your fingers, you could press some primer into your pores with this brush. Many uses. A Wayne Goss brush that I love. This is probably my all-time favorite brush for blending eyeshadow under the lower lash line. It's just the perfect size. It's soft, but it's not too soft. It's got the right density. Just a really, really nice brush. They are expensive, but man, his brushes are amazing. Just for the sake of making some room, I am going to donate these Moto Pro brushes. Again, it's just like it's a texture thing for me. I don't know. That's probably really weird. Part of me wants to get rid of this whole collection because I've had them forever and I honestly never reach for them. This is another Sonia Kashuk. Some of her brushes I am absolutely in love with, and others just kind of fall flat for me. I have so many other brushes, so I think I'm just gonna let this one go. I don't use this brush a lot at all. Let me just grab all at one time Luxy brushes. These are a few eye brushes. I've gotten these mainly from BoxyCharm. They're just really, really good brushes. You can't go wrong. They're nice. They have like the dual fiber thing where they're really dense at the bottom. They've got some flow in the bristle. It's soft, not too soft, just really good. These guys, same thing. They're also Luxy, just from a different collection. To me, BH Cosmetics just never goes wrong with their brushes. They have, even in this one set, and having a few that are all kind of like flatter synthetic brushes, they're different sizes and they're different enough to make them really useful. This is similar to that Morphe brush that I'm getting rid of, which is another reason why I didn't want to keep that one. Again, let me show you. So this is the one I decided to get rid of. This is the one that is really similar. This one's got a little bit more movement to it. So to me, it's a little bit more useful. This one, not as much. So again, keeping all these BH ones. So these brushes are really similar, and at first glance I was like, wow, I have two of the same brush. No, one is Crown and one is Wet n Wild. They're just super, super similar. I always have these grouped together because they look so much alike, so I'm just gonna get rid of one. This Ray Morris brush I used in my full face of $1,000 makeup. I'll have to find that video and make sure that it's linked below for you, but it is so expensive, and don't get me wrong, it's a good brush, but man, it's just not worth that much. I got this in a lucky bag, so I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm not gonna run out and buy these brushes when there's so many affordable options that really get the job done, but I am gonna hold on to it because I have it. It's also magnetic on the bottom, which is kind of nice. Okay, a few that I just like. This Kala one, it's just a blending brush. Morphe E30, amazing, nice and fluffy. Morphe E21, one of the very few slanted shadow brushes that I'll actually grab. Two favorites of mine, Morphe E36 and Morphe E17. E17 is great for getting into the crease and doing a little bit of blend work, laying down some color and doing the outer corner. And then the Morphe E36 is probably one of the other ones that I absolutely love for the lower lash line color. So this one and that Wayne Goss one are like absolutely to die for. This overall Morphe collection, you'll continue to see a few of these handles throughout. I actually really like this brush collection. The bristles have a little bit of coarseness to them, but like just the right amount. Sometimes I think that helps because if they're too soft, it seems like they just want to like lay their product there and not do much, but these are great. Okay, a collection that I actually really liked. This is the Luxy mini brushes. When I read mini, I was like, oh, they're just short brushes. No, these are actually pretty standard size length for a brush, but everything is small, so that's great for detailed work. And when I got this collection, I was like, wow, I didn't have these in my life and I needed them. And then lo and behold, I got another set of mini brushes, but I do like these because they're great for picking up a single color. I can grab a different brush, go in with another color, so I do like all of those. Super random because these look so similar, but it's Wet n Wild, Real Techniques, and then e.l.f. These are all just really good brushes. They're all a little bit different, but again, blending brushes I feel like I can never have enough of. So far, this is what I'm either getting rid of or donating. We haven't even gone into powder brushes, face brushes. There's so many more to get through. Speaking of powder brushes, so I have a lot of them, but there are a lot of different types here, so you may find that I'm a little bit redundant with these. I just love powder brushes. I don't know, it's something about it that just feels so nice. So first, the Sonia Kashuk one. This is a collection where I feel like they really did the thing on this. They are super soft, but again, not too soft. It's the perfect amount. So this one's really nice and full. This is great for a really light coat of powder. It's definitely going to be a more diffused application, but I really like that. This one is a little different. So this is the Pro Round Powder number 60. I believe this is an older brush. This one has a little bit more coarseness to it, so I like this only with certain powders. Some powders, like the Hourglass for instance, so it's super finely milled. If I use a very soft, like overly soft brush like this one, so this is the Sephora Featherweight. This one's so incredibly soft. If I use the Hourglass, I'm gonna go for this one that's a little bit coarser, because I feel like, and it's hard to explain, it'll pick up the powder and it'll lay it right down where you put it, and then it doesn't really move after that. This one gets the powder moving again, so it'll lay it down, but you can really buff and blend it out, whereas this one, it just kind of wants to stay right where you put it. They both have their purposes. I love the Featherweight with the Micro Smooth powder from Sephora. It depends on the product I'm using which one I'm gonna grab. The Too Faced Mr. Right is just that. It's just a great brush. You can use this to contour. You can use this for powder. This one, I have a bone to pick. So this brush, from first glance, you're like, oh my god, Tarte made the most beautiful, luxurious brush, and then you feel it and you're like, wait a minute, what happened to the bristles? So I haven't actually used this. I just washed it. It's already dry because literally there's no density to it whatsoever. And when I bought this, I bought it on sale, thank goodness, or I would be mad. But I just looked at it and was like, what is this? But I will say this. It is for a light application. So obviously with the bristles being so spaced and very movable, you're going to get a very light application with this one. So just know what you're getting from it. It is not a luxurious powder brush, even though it might look so cute. It was a little disappointing, I'm going to be honest. When you pay for a single brush and you pay a lot for it, you want it to be, you know, nice and dense. You want it to feel great on the skin. And this one just, I don't know. It was a little underwhelming. These Wet n Wild brushes are a great staple. This one's got a little bit of a taper to it. This one's more of a domed brush, but really good powder brushes, and I love having these drugstore options to show you guys as well. So we're back to the Sonia Kashuk brushes. This one is super soft. This will be great for like powder foundation. It actually has a great feel to it. And then you have another brush that kind of reminds me of the big Sephora one, except it's a bit more flat, whereas the Sephora is more of a round. So this one again has a little nice coarseness to it, where it really get that powder moving. That way you're not like stamping the powder in and then it's not blending out, it's not moving for you. I think this might be a set that I give to my mom, just as like a, hey, try out these brushes, see if you want them. The Kevyn Aucoin. And really, I'm gonna say again, because just to make sure you guys know, I don't hate these brushes by any means. They actually feel really similar. The Kevyn Aucoin is a really nice luxurious brush and does not come cheap, and the Sonia Kashuk actually really reminds me of this. Alrighty, I paused for a late lunch and now I'm back. I still didn't finish powder brushes.
I know, you guys, excuse me. Sorry. Okie doke.
So let's talk about a few more. These are both Real Technique brushes. These are actually really nice. If you're ever in the market for brushes and you don't want to spend a lot, Real Techniques is a great way to go. I have different collections from them and they're all really good. I believe this one was more of a blush brush if I'm not mistaken, but you can use this for a variety of purposes. So you can bronze with it, you can definitely do some blush, you can do some powder. It's very versatile. This e.l.f. one is a definite favorite of mine as far as powder brushes go. Nice and dense, full bristles. Honestly, you just can't go wrong with this one, and it's so affordable. This Milani, this is a powder slash bronzer brush. I love this for bronzing the face up, especially for bronzing and contouring the forehead specifically. Okay, so then I have also this Moda one. Again, it's the texture of these. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm just weird about them.
Sally.
Sorry guys, that's Sally butt right here. Now this Moda line I really love. I can't remember exactly what this is called, but they're really nice brushes. The handles are a little shorter, but they are really nice. The Grinch brush that is the face and powder brush, it's actually very nice as well. So this Wet n Wild one is really taking a beating. I am going to donate this one simply because I am keeping so many and I have my other Wet n Wild brushes to recommend for you guys from time to time. This Tarte one from the Unicorn line, You can see it's a little bit wet there on the end, still from the cleaning, but very nice brush as well. I have a couple more Wayne Goss brushes that are favorites of mine. You really can't go wrong with these. This one is great for blush. You can contour with it. This one you can highlight with. You can dust off bake with it. Really even good for blush as well. Very versatile, just the perfect bristle. And then I have this Sephora Pro Featherweight Blending. You can blend with it a little bit, but it's not going to do any like heavy duty blending. If you have products that are really not easy to blend, it's not going to help that much, but this one is amazing for dusting off excess powder. I actually use it specifically for that purpose. The cats keep making their cameos. Let's talk about some foundation brushes. I also have a couple random concealer ones. Quickly, I am going to get rid of this one. I never, ever, ever reach for this brush. You could use it if you use a brush to conceal with. I typically am using Beauty Blender, and the reason why I'm even going through foundation brushes is because I always use a Beauty Blender. Really quickly, concealer, Airbrush concealer, I am going to keep. You can also use this for any other cream products. It's a really good one. This one, I've never really found much of a purpose for, and like I said, I can donate it. I have this Eve Lom. This is a powder foundation brush specifically. I do like this. I don't have a lot of occurrence to need a brush like this, but I only have a couple that are like flat top foundation brushes like this, and I do like them as I pick up another one. So I've got a few. This one's supposed to be for powder specifically, but they all have a similar feel to them. I have 3. Do I really need that many? Probably not, but I am going to keep these for now because they are all such good brushes. A couple buffing brushes that I specifically like. These are from Sephora. They're both core diffusers. This is the number 94 and then the number 95, which is slanted and a bit smaller. I feel like sometimes Sephora collection can go a little out there with their brush choices, just trying to be a little bit more innovative. Sometimes they're a hit, sometimes they're a miss. I actually really like these. If you're ever looking for a brush and wondering like why should I choose that one? The core diffusers have a really dense inner core, and then they have more dispersed bristles around the edges, and then these bristles just help to kind of like give a diffuse airbrush finish. I actually think these are really nice. Flat foundation brushes. Not brushes that I use often. I honestly use these a lot for mask application. You can use them for cream products. You can kind of paint your face if you want to do like the technique that Scott Barnes is popular for, where you apply like a heavier contour and highlight, gently blend in, and then go with foundation over top. You can definitely paint your face in that way, but these are multitaskers for me because again, I use them with masks. The one that really surprised me and I loved is the ColourPop F17. This one's shorter. I actually love this. It's just like you get these little short strokes that don't leave you with streaks. The Lancome one was a gift from a friend of mine. I do like it, but I do find that I get a little streaky with that one, so I love it for masks. The Luxy 510, which is this one, is a recent addition to my collection, but I really like. And then the Morphe E9. Again, I'm keeping these because I can use them for many different purposes. This brush. The Precision Foundation Brush. I never really used it for foundation. The only time I did use this was to try it with concealer and cream products, but honestly, there are so many better options, so I'm gonna let this go. Another one that I found to be surprised that I like so much is the Luxy 680 Pro Precision
Face brush.
Face brush. Damn it. So this one has, as you can see, an angle to it. It is really nicely dense, but it has that right consistency to it. Again, I am literally like Goldilocks. I can't be too soft, it can't be too rough, it's got to be just right, and this one definitely is. Still a little damp, as you can see, but love this one. This one from Sephora is the Slanted Buffing Brush. This one is so freaking densely packed, and the bristles, as you can see, are very short, so you have very little movement in this. Even just like little gentle buffing motions are pulling the skin. I need to play with it a little bit more before I make a determination. I don't think this will ever be a like favorite of mine, but I would like to see if there are any foundations that I just particularly like this one with. Luxy 732 Airbrush Foundation. I really like their style of brushes like this, which are the pro ones. It's a little bit more domed, but you can buff with that one. And then Flawless Airbrush. This one you can use for foundation, but I actually really like blush with this. You can use it with cream products, so really versatile. These are the brushes that I'm keeping. This one's dirty. Because I thought I washed everything. So all these are clean brushes that I'm keeping. A really quick couple favorites. Real Techniques 306 Kabuki. This is from Brush Crush. Look at that. I didn't get that little bit of product out of there. This guy was really dirty. When I cleaned this one, I was like, oh my god, I forgot how bright the bristles are. And I literally did, because it was so coated with bronzer. I love this to bronze up the face. You can use it for other purposes, but it gives a beautiful bronze. I especially love it with my Marc Jacobs Omega bronze because that one's so big. This is just perfect perfect for that, and it's all over bronzing. Amazing. This brush I believe is going away, so if you happen to catch it at TJ Maxx, I think you can get it for around $10 to $12, maybe $15 at most. But it's a really good versatile brush, and when you first feel it, you tend to think like, oh, that's kind of neat, but man, it is thick with bristles. So you can use this for multi-purpose. You can do foundation, you can use this with body products. So if you do a body foundation, you can use this with a luminizing product, you can contour with it, you can powder with it. It is a very, very versatile brush. Flat synthetic brushes, MAC 248 is a staple for me. I love to use this to wet, apply shimmers with, apply glitters with, apply glitter glue with it. You can do a lot of things with this brush. This Wet n Wild brush has seen better days. I'm gonna pick up another one of these, but it's a great flat synthetic. It's the right size. I'm gonna kind of quickly compare. Like, nothing is quite that size. That one's really, really close actually. So this is another ColourPop one. This one is actually a really good one, even though I bedazzled it. These brushes are so damn inexpensive that I'm gonna pick up more of these. They're just like really, really beaten up, and I'd love to have new ones of those, and they're so affordable. This Wet n Wild one is from that collection. It's like a light pink that fades into that silver. It's gorgeous. I have that entire collection right here, which I am keeping. Really quick, the Luxy one, Precision Crease. Beautiful for cutting the crease. This looks like Cynthia from the Rugrats right now, you know, Angelica's doll. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. But fan brushes are not a favorite of mine. I'm just gonna be honest. They're not something that I reach for. I do have a few favorites, and for the most part, I just don't use them. So really quick, I got this one from Wish. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it just doesn't really fit into my collection. The little magenta bristles, and then it's got like this coppery ferrule, and then the rainbow. It just kind of throws me off. It actually feels really nice though. I'm just gonna donate it. Sonia Kashuk. This is a fan brush that I actually really, really like. It's very thick. Now you can do a lot with this. I actually prefer this for a light powder application, sweeping off products, things like that, not actually for applying highlight. Fan brushes that I think are too thin. Sephora fan brush that I have, to me, it's just a little bit thin. It's not as bad as the Wet n Wild, so let's compare. To me, the thing that really makes it a fan brush just not usable is when it's so thin that I can't work with it. Now this one's not as bad, but as you can see, I really, really like the Wayne Goss. So in comparison, just side by side, I like the ones that are a little bit thicker and have a little bit more of a coarse bristle to them. So the Wayne Goss and this Morphe one look really similar. They're the kind that I like. These are just a little bit thinner. The Sephora is kind of in between. It's not as bad as the Wet n Wild, not nearly as good as those two, and I hardly ever reach for fan brushes, so I'm just going to keep these and donate these. Just some random things. This Tarte brush collection is really nice. It's beautiful. It's been in my background, and I haven't really used it a lot, if I'm going to be 100% honest, but it's gorgeous. I'm keeping that. This one is a set I've hardly ever used. I literally just found it. It was still in the brush holder that it came in. These are gorgeous face brushes in a set from Sephora, just beautifully made. This set did not get a wash because I couldn't find it. This is a travel set of Sigma brushes. So it came in this little barrel right here. I have just kept this set together. I took it with me to New York. I was able to do pretty much any look I wanted. The only thing you're really missing is like a bigger, fluffier brush for powder, maybe contour. I have some Luxy eye brushes and then some MAC little brushes. This helps to really round out a travel collection. So as you can see, once those are all together, I've got a pretty good little mix. I could do a whole face with that. I might include a couple others when I travel, but that gets me pretty much anywhere I need to go. So it's a great little travel set. This is another set that I got from Sephora that I haven't really used that much. This one actually has a beautiful fan brush. It's nice and thick, but it's also a little bit slimmer. So it's just perfect for hitting the highlight or even doing blush with. But really, I don't have to talk a lot about these. They're just a good little set of brushes. They are a little bit shorter. They actually do fit into my Sigma roll as well, and I did take some of those to New York with me, so that set's not going anywhere. I also love the metal finish of the handles. Really quickly, in my other little monster cup, I have some more of Wet n Wild and e.l.f. brushes. For the most part, these are really good staples, except I just thought this one was kind of gimmicky, the little like swirly flower looking bristles, so I'm gonna donate that one. Talk about random, I don't know where these two came from, but I don't have a lot of brushes like this, so they are shorter, they're denser, a little bit on the flatter side. I happen to use these occasionally for different things. Sometimes it's cream, sometimes it's just packing on some product, but I don't have a lot like them, so I'm gonna keep these two. There's my favorite highlighting brush. I knew I would find it. MAC 133. This brush gets a real beating, but man is it a nice brush. Highly recommend for highlight. And so now we have a blot of like randoms, some blush, some smaller powder, some highlight, some contour, just like the random ones that I didn't group with other things. I'm gonna donate this one. Again, I have a ton of Wet n Wild brushes, and if I ever wanted to pick it up again, it's super cheap. We've talked about the BH Cosmetics Rose Gold collection. Very nice brushes. This Morphe one, I don't have a lot of angled brushes like this, and again, this bristle is a favorite of mine. So this brush is actually a Lancome blush brush. It is my all-time favorite brush to contour my forehead with. For whatever reason, this one is the perfect size and the perfect brush. It just works so well. So I love this one for contouring the forehead and the jawline. And then we've just got a lot of brushes here. I said I wasn't going to talk about every brush, but I've pretty much done that. The Real Techniques line, I believe this line is discontinued, but they're really good. Sephora Airbrush Blush, it is the perfect little precision blush brush. The Brush Crush range from Real Techniques is a beautiful, amazing collection. They also have a new Brush Crush line that just launched at Ulta, so you can check those out. They just have a different look. Some more Luxy Duo Fiber Powder. Again, not my favorite, but I don't have a lot, so I'll hold on to it. Precision Foundation and Tapered Highlight. Morphe is a good highlight. Another one from that collection. We've got a bunch more Wet n Wild. This is just like a good range of brushes. I will not use this, I'm gonna be honest. It's like more of a stippling style brush, and it's a little smaller. I'm gonna donate that. The angled one I like because I don't have many of those. A smaller powder brush, a little bit more precision. This Wet n Wild, I've actually been using this one for a blush lately as well, and this is from that limited edition unicorn collection. I love like the oil spill type of rainbow look of it. A couple more of my ridiculous bedazzled brushes. I actually think I'm gonna part ways with these. Neither of these are ones that I reach for a lot, and I have a lot of similar brushes to this one, like right here, very similar. I'm just grouping this collection together to give to my mom. So we just have some random brushes at this point. These I've received in gratis or subscription boxes and I just haven't used yet. So this is the Get Cheeky with Benefit brush. Beautiful little blush and bronzer brush. This Tarte one came with the Found Sealer. I have not used it yet and I need to try that foundation. Very densely packed, but I want to see how the particular brush goes with that foundation. The Suva Beauty 620 perfect little liner brush. I love those liners. Just posted a little video on Instagram if you want to check that out. This is the specific brush from Laura Mercier that goes with the glow setting powder. It is a beautiful one and it's just great to sweep in certain areas. Alright, and these are just random brushes that I didn't take out of the containers. So again, the Brush Crush range from Real Techniques is beautiful. I'm keeping those together. The Sonia Kashuk ones that have the light pink with the navy handles, I'm keeping that collection as well. Because I do love Sonia Kashuk brushes, but I think both sets I have are limited edition, so I just don't want to keep too many of those. I never know what to do with this set because honestly it sticks out like a sore thumb. And this brush, I'm just going to be honest, I've never used. I need to get rid of it. But these two brushes, like, they are nice. There's nothing wrong with these, and I actually love like the vibrant color of them, but it's just like, what do these go with? Anyway, I think I'll leave those together for now. Okay, I'm hoping this isn't looking shaky. I'm using my phone again because my camera overheated, so I just wanted to quickly show you what's left in what's left in these containers so you can see. A couple Real Techniques from those metal collections. I have some of those Cala brushes that I quickly mentioned and I'm going to add to that. This Sephora foundation one is a recent addition to their collection. Everybody loves this brush, so if you're looking for one, it's only $16, not too bad. So the only thing left to do is I'm going to quickly move everything in and start to organize some of what I have into the containers that I have readily available. So let's do that. it's so much better than it was. I can't even describe, like, it's such a relief to me. And I know some people will probably be like, well, you should keep them all. You can always have more brushes. You can never have too many. But honestly, if it's overwhelming, it's just not worth it. And this is still a lot. So this is probably still overdoing it. I don't need all these brushes, not at all, but I will find ways to incorporate them and use them a little bit better now because I don't have such an overwhelming number of brushes. And this is everything that I have set aside to probably donate. I feel so much better now, like everything is a little bit more under control. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know below if we share any brush favorites. If you guys would like to see like my all-time favorite brushes in a video, let me know. I can still do that even though we've kind of talked about brushes today. I did hit on a lot of what my favorites really truly are. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna shut up and stop rambling, and I will see you guys really soon in my next video.